Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the Starscartel channel. If you don't know, I'm Star. The message I heard is a lot of prison. Anyone? The scripture comes from 4th Maccabees 5:19. Do not think eating the unclean then a trifling offense. So I feel like God is saying, for somebody, he said what he said. Okay? He said what he said. He said what he said. And if you go about going against what he said, you should know what I'm talking about for whoever this is for. Because I know sometimes people, say it's confusing. I don't understand what you're talking about. While simultaneously other people know exactly what I'm talking about. That mean the message ain't for you. You can't force the message. But this is for somebody. You would know what I'm talking about. There's a situation where God told you he wanted you to do something. He wanted you to be with somebody. He wanted you to go somewhere. There's something that God has already asked you to do. You decided against it because of the place, the person, the thing, whatever, went and did something that, will make you like repulsive of it. God said he said what he said. 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 And if you go against what he said, you gonna be the one that's gonna go to spiritual prison. Okay, and that's the message for whoever that's for. If you go against what God told you to do, you are gonna be the one that's gonna go to spiritual prison, regardless of what it is. God said what he said now. He said what he said now. He said what he said now. And understand that God may have gave you several different things to do. But God says that when it comes down to it, it's all going to fall into place. And that is for someone. It will all fall into place. Everything is going to fall perfectly into alignment. It's not going to be a situation where you're going to be confused and you're going to be stressed out and you're going to be worried. If you ignore what God is telling you to do, then I'm being reminded of the message where God said he has created a detour for you already to keep your stress down. If you insist on going about and ignoring the detour, you are going to cause the destruction. You're going to cause it. But if you go ahead and take the detour, you're going to be fine. And that's the message. God said he has already told you what to do. Do what he asked you to do. Stop trying to go around it. Stop trying to ignore it. Stop trying to act like you ain't hear what he said. God said he know you heard what he said. You hear me. This is for God said, you hear me. For somebody, you hear him and you hear him clearly. See, sometimes when God be talking to us, he'll say things and I know me personally, if I'm doing something that he really don't want me to do, he'll yell. He typically whispers. And he typically, is a stern, but a kind, compassionate. But if I'm doing something and he really don't want me to do it, or I'm thinking about doing something he really don't want me to do, he will yell at me. Yes, he will. He will yell at me. He will say, you better not. You better not. You better not. You better not. And I know I was listening to somebody and they was talking about God doesn't yell. That's not God's voice. If it's a yelling voice, that's not God's voice. And I was like, is this really God? Would God yell at me like this? He said, you want to bet? Do you want to bet? Do you want to bet? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying this to say for whoever this is for. Sometimes when we hear God, you have to understand, okay? We know from scripture that God has emotions because he has compassion upon us. He gleeds in us. He enjoys us. He loves us. He cares about us. He has hatred towards those that insist on going against what he wants them to do. Now, if he hates those that insist on going against what he wants them to do, then that would mean, you know what I'm saying, that would cause him to, have a different perspective. If you are someone that you are a child of God, typically walking by faith and not by sight, typically giving him your hand and allowing him to guide you and let him take the lead, and you decide that you're going to do something stepping outside of what he wants you to do, don't you think he'll be upset with you? Just be real. That's just like, you know, even as us, as people, if you have instructed someone to do something and they do the opposite of what you have asked them to do, don't it make you mad? Just be real. Be honest with yourself. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I know me. If I get mad, I'm going to yell. If I get really mad, I am going to yell. And typically when I yell, whoever I'm yelling at or whoever hear me yelling be shocked and appalled, because typically I talk in a, like, either I'm talking in my, you know, my soft voice, or I'm talking like how I'm talking. This is my normal voice. You know what I'm saying? This is how I actually talk. You know what I'm saying? On a regular basis. So when I yell, people typically get shocked. They be like, is she yelling? Is she mad? Yes, I'm mad. I'm mad. I don't get mad often. I don't really like allowing anybody to get me mad. I don't really like even being in that kind of vibe, because when I get mad, if I'm yelling, I'm ready to fight. And I don't like arguing. I already talked about that, because when I get mad, which is why I work on it so much, my tongue is twisted. I have a speech impediment, and when I get mad, I start stuttering and I start messing words up, and I don't like it, because I for sure don't want nobody that I'm mad at laughing at me, because you're gonna make me madder. Okay? It's just, baby, not me laughing at myself. But anyways, that's the message. God said, do what he asked you to. Do what you know what he asked you to do. Do what he asked you to do. And stop trying to dance around it. Do what he asked you to do. And stop trying to dance around it. And that's the message. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Deuces.